Let's get honest. Most high-achieving women don't have a time management issue. We have an energy stewardship issue. We push, produce, parent, lead, care, and give until there's nothing left for ourselves. And when we finally feel the burnout, we still hesitate to take time for ourselves because we're afraid it's selfish. But today, I want you to hear this. Radical self-care is not indulgent. It's intelligent. It's protective. It's strategic. And it's powerful. I'm going to break down why this is more than bubble baths and boundaries. It's about reclaiming your energy, your emotional wellness, and your ability to lead at a higher level. Let's dive in.
Welcome to The Balanced Leader, hosted by Yan Dang, a leadership and life coach with over 20 years of corporate experience. Drawing from her journey as a former global finance leader and second-generation immigrant, Yan understands the unique challenges women face in male-dominated workplaces. Each episode offers insights on balancing masculine and feminine energies, mastering soft skills, and building emotional intelligence. Join us to transform frustration into empowerment and unlock your authentic leadership potential.
Hi, my friends. Welcome to today's episode. We are going to dive into the topic of radical self-care and why it is strategic, not selfish. We are also going to be talking about the importance of this as a woman leader and how this is actually something that if we do for ourselves, impacts the rest of the world around us, impacts our entire world, our entire community, by the way that we show up and how well we take care of ourselves. I've seen a big correlation between leaders that are in alignment with themselves. So when I say alignment, it's like this emotional alignment. They take care of their bodies. They take care of their mind. They're spiritually connected to themselves. And they have like this mental awareness, this mental clarity, right? It's like this coherency. They're like really grounded in what matters to them. And one of the big correlations I've seen with that is that they're really good at learning how to take care of themselves, what they need. So today's episode is all about being radical, disruptive, necessary. We're going to go to the root of self-care. It's not just about spa days. It's about living in a way that honors your energy before your calendar. And I'm going to cite an article that was shared with me. Oh my gosh, it must have been like 10 years ago by now. I remember I had my first executive coach and I was really dealing with, how to manage my time. I was flying back and forth to London where a lot of my team were. I was living in Chicago and I felt a lot of pressure on myself and it was really difficult to manage all of that at once. And the coach I worked with shared with me a Harvard Business Review article called Manage Your Energy, Not Your Time. And it really changed the way that I looked at my life and the way that I prioritize and the way that I take care of myself. Performance rises when we prioritize our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energy, not by doing more, but by protecting and replenishing ourselves. And I think this is particularly important in Western societies where we are so masculinely driven by tasks, by getting things done, by accomplishments, right? And societally, as a woman, I oftentimes talk to my clients about putting themselves first and normalizing that it can feel selfish. You could feel guilty. A lot of women that I talk to have a really hard time putting themselves front and center. Because why? Because we have been conditioned to not do that. We have watched our mothers sacrificed. We have watched our grandmothers doing everything, right? This is a society that, when you're watching this is really, even if you know the higher level thoughts and cognitively, you're like, I should take care of myself. It makes a lot of sense. Putting ourselves first, putting the oxygen mask on, all of those things, they make sense, but it's actually harder to do than we think because of how we've been conditioned, what we've watched, what we've learned. And there's like a deeper level of like what's okay or what's not okay, what's normalized for me. So let's dive into this topic of why it's so hard, because if we can't uncover why it's so hard, it's really difficult to get there. This is the radical part of radical self-care. Why is it so hard to choose ourselves? Well, the greatest barrier is not logistics, actually. Logistics, women can figure out. You can figure out how to build time in your schedule. You can figure out how to place the boundaries, and you can figure out what to do to make things work, because women solve problems. They're able to solve problems. You're able to logistically figure it out. But oftentimes it's not the logistics, it's the feeling. And the feeling is guilt. Women are conditioned to be caregivers, the glue, the ones who stretch and hold it all together. And research from APA, American Psychology Association, confirms that women are the emotional well-being center of their families. Now, this is why I always love to bring up this study, because it is so imperative for a woman, and if you want to expand this to more than just your family system where you're the mother, you can expand this to yourself as a leader in your company, where you are the main person that's leading. You are providing the emotional well-being for people around you by firstly taking care of yourself. If you're a leader that is showing up grounded, not frantic, not chaotic, not emotionally triggered. I actually remember when I was working, I was an auditor at PwC at the start of my career, and I had this senior manager who would just sit next to me. She was so stressed out, and I was just trying to get my work done, and she would just sit there stressed out, freaked out. And I just remember turning to her and saying, "Hey, I got this. Let me get back to you in an hour. I will get this all done. Are you okay? Do you need any help?" And I was actually like a little taken aback by it myself, because I was feeling pretty emotionally aware, even though I was like in my early 20s, and this woman was probably in her early 30s or late 20s. And she just took a deep breath and she just told me, like, "I feel so nervous about this. The client hates me. I don't think he's going to like what we have to say." And I just remember saying, let's just share it with him. Let me finish the information and I'll share it with you. And then we'll come up with a game plan and we'll work on it together. But this is the price of not being, emotionally grounded. If you're not feeling grounded, you're having this urgency energy. And oftentimes when you're leading people from this urgency energy, they're not really wanting to be led by you. They may actually want to lead you, or they might want to bypass you. What I always tell my clients, whether it is in your family system or whether it is in your work system, by taking care of yourself, by looking after your own health, and that's mental and emotional, you are helping the whole system. You are the center of that family. So if your kids are acting crazy and you check in with yourself, the more you calm yourself down, the more the kids will calm down as well. People feel your energy. And this is why it's so important to realize that taking really good care of yourself is actually strategic for you, and it's beneficial to everyone around you. And so it really throws that whole idea of selfishness on its head, but you need to be radical about it. You actually need to think about this study in every moment, and you need to make choices based on this, because it's one thing to know it, but it's another thing to believe it and to live it. If you feel guilty for putting yourself first, you're not wrong. You're conditioned, but it's time to rewrite that. And you, as the leader of you, have the responsibility of doing that. So that's why I give you this study. That's why I'm sharing this truth with you, because it is not so much the barriers of how to do it. It's really the feeling that we get. And if you are feeling guilty and if you are feeling selfish for taking care of yourself, then I want you to push through that feeling and get to the other side of it. If you have those feelings, it means that you're actually on the right track and you are giving yourself what you need, because we've been conditioned. So it's not about changing all of those feelings all at once. Part of this is believing that this is strategic, knowing that you're going to have these feelings of guilt, but still doing it anyway and taking care of yourself. This is how growth happens. This is how transformation happens. It doesn't always happen at once, but if you can recognize, you can move through those emotions and you'll be on the other side of it. And you also want to surround yourself with people that care about you and are telling you, yes, do this. This is great. I'm actually part of a mom's group where we're really focused not on our kids, but in mothering ourselves, taking care of ourselves. And sometimes when I think, oh my gosh, I have a nanny and then I have an extra babysitter on the weekend so my husband and I can go out, or I have a couple of hours here and there so I can still work out. There's a part of me that's like, ooh, that's too much. Like somebody's going to look into my life and judge me for all of the support I have. But then at the same time, I'm like, when I think about this mom's group and I think about them cheering me on, I'm like, no, this is the way. This is about me taking care of me so I can show up after my workout having more energy to actually engage with my kids, to have fun with my kids, to take care of my body, to take care of myself. But this is the reprogramming that even I'm still doing today, and it is a lifelong journey. And if you think about it, we've been conditioned for a long time, right? And I know, like, if I were to talk to my mom about some of the things that I do, she'd be like, oh my gosh, that's like so much. Like, you should just stay home and be with your kids. But that's where she was conditioned and that's where she is. So I'm also really mindful about who I look towards to give me advice about this, to help me with my own journey of self-care. Hey there, I wanted to give you an important update. My one-on-one coaching practice is almost full, but don't worry, I'm still offering complimentary empowering coaching consultations. That's 45 minutes with me virtually over Zoom to help you get started and see how we can work together. And for those of you looking for a spot, I'm filling a wait list for just 5 more clients. I'm aiming to work with 15 amazing clients and then keep a wait list to ensure the best possible experience. If you're ready to take your growth to the next level, book your complimentary empowering coaching consultation today before spots are gone. Go to www.aspire-coaching.co and click on the free consultation button. I'll see you soon. So it really starts with why, like asking yourself, why would you want to do this? And don't start with a perfect routine. You want to start with a powerful why instead. Who benefits when I'm well, right? You want to ask yourself that. Firstly, you benefit, but who else benefits for you? And really think of the names of people in your life, people on your team, maybe even your parents, elderly parents that need our emotional and mental support. But you can't give that to them unless you give it to yourself. What kind of woman, leader, or parent do I want to be? Ask yourself that, because this is going to ground your why. And then you also want to say, what kind of energy does she lead with? This is you. This is who you're becoming. What type of energy do you want to have? I know so many leaders that are very high in their career, but they seem miserable. They seem like they're constantly stressed out. They don't seem like they take care of their well-being. They don't seem like they really enjoy their job. So for me as a leader, I always wanted to be a leader that loved my life and my leadership, because I knew if I led that way, number one, I would really enjoy it myself a lot more. But number two, I also know that when people look at me, when my team members or peers look at me, they want more of me, want more of my way of being, my way of leading, my energy. I'm actually helping them to see a vision of themselves as a higher level leader who is not constantly stressed out, is not constantly running after every meeting, right? Not always feeling like they're putting themselves, last. Because when you see leaders like that, you just want to say no. You're like, nope, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at with my leadership. I don't need more, right? Because you don't want that. You don't want that stress for yourself. But if you see a leader and they're thriving, and they're not only thriving, they're really enjoying the process and they're learning and they seem energized, you're like, I want that. I want more of that for me. And then also, I want to be led by this person. They seem to know something I don't. So you want to reframe this. This is not about earning rest. It's about reclaiming your foundation. It is about grounding down into what is most important to you and how you want your life to be as it unfolds. It's taking that initiative and putting that stake in the ground, because it starts with you. And it really starts with building rituals that honor your energy and noticing what gives you energy. Again, this is attunement to ourselves. It's like, our phone tells us when it's low on battery and it tells us when it needs a recharge, but we oftentimes don't have those things for ourselves unless we consciously make an effort to check in and say, wow, I've been running back to back to back to back and I haven't even noticed myself. I haven't given myself a break. I haven't stretched out. So you want to start with some micro practices, and starting small is better than not starting at all. I always tell my clients that starting small is better than not starting at all. So you can do some simple things. You can breathe before every meeting, take some deep breaths. You can say no once a day to something, right? As a practice of using your no. You can also journal if that's something that speaks to you, that you feel grounded in. And part of this is experimenting. Sometimes people are like, but I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's experiment. Well, let's experiment with what feels calming to you. Drinking water before you serve anyone else, right? That might just be good for you to be like, okay, before I get everything ready for everybody else for dinner time, let me take a drink of water for myself. Or before, the morning begins, I'm going to start with this drink of water for me. And you want to stack rituals as you grow your confidence and your capacity to taking care of yourself. This is how you start becoming the person that is radically taking care of herself. And the thoughts to practice, here are some of mine that you can borrow. My well-being is my responsibility. What restores me expands me. I'm allowed to be the priority in my life. And of course, self-care is not selfish, it's strategic. So it's one thing to say the thoughts, it's another to believe them, to practice them, and to make decisions based on them. And I want you to remember that your energy is your edge. At this level in your leadership, and this matters so much because when we are talking about high-level women getting to the highest levels of leadership, it really is about your energy. It's about your presence. You are your best resource. You're not going to know all the answers. I tell my clients all the time, when you are in leadership, you don't know all the answers. But what you do know is how to stay grounded, how to be aligned with yourself. And what happens when people do this work, when they take care of themselves, when there's chaos around them, they bring certainty because they already have that calmness within them. So your voice sharpens, your clarity deepens, your influence expands with this work. Again, it's very strategic. And this is what it means to lead from wholeness, to be super grounded, to have this holistic view of who you are. All right. So before we end today, I have to leave you not with words, but with stillness, a moment to come back into your body, a pause to breathe, to release, to remember you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to come home to yourself. So let's close with a short grounding meditation. If you're driving, you can come back to this later, or you can focus as you're driving. If you're home, find a quiet space and take a deep breath. We are going to dive into a short guided meditation to finish up this episode. All right, gently take a deep breath in. And exhale slowly. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your body drop into presence. You are here, and this is enough. Feel your feet connected to the ground. Feel the breath moving through your body. This moment is your anchor. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to do anything. Just breathe. Let go of what's not here now. Let go of the story. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the performance. Return to the simplicity of now. I am allowed to rest. I am safe to take up space. I am here, and that is powerful. All right, my friends, that was the episode. Feel free to go back and listen to that meditation, to ground yourself, to breathe into it, to sit with it as many times as you need. I will see you next week. Until next time, go out there and radically care for yourself. Take it in. Remember, it is strategic, not selfish.
Thank you for being a part of the Balanced Leader community. We hope you found today's episode inspiring and actionable. For more resources and to connect with Jan, visit us at aspire-coaching.co. Until next time, keep leading with confidence and purpose.